What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, man, I'm going to talk about this rumored suspension of Marcellos Wilder that's been going around. People have come to my comment section, going to other people's comment section, asking what we think of Deontay Wilder's brother, Marcellos Wilder, being suspended for failing a performance-enhancing drug test. You know that I had a little time on my hands for me to waste my time researching this. However, I did because I thought, let me get to the bottom of it and see what happened. Because when I looked up the subject, I couldn't find anything but a couple YouTube channels out of the UK say are the source for this. So I thought, let me go and walk through the steps and find out if I can actually find if that's the case or not. And this video is my findings. In short, I have no reason to believe that Marcellos Wilder has been suspended for performance-enhancing drugs, and I have no reason to believe that he's actually had a substantive suspension at all. And I will walk through this. Before I do, though, I want to welcome you back to the channel, subscribers. If you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and then hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also check out our live streams that we do every morning, Monday through Friday, start time between 10:30 and 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and the OG Boxing Talk Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Central Standard Time, 9 a.m. Eastern. And check out the Patreon. Okay, so this is the rumor, because that's the only thing that I can say that it is a rumor. And it's a rumor that hasn't, unless you walk through all of this stuff, you can't tell me that you really have any reason to believe it. But this is what it was based on. It was based on the record of Marcellos Wilder on BoxRec. Okay? But before we go to BoxRec, before we go on, let me show you something that it always says on BoxRec. Copyright BoxRec. Data may be incomplete, inaccurate. And I have no reason to trust what's on BoxRec for things like that because the data may be incomplete or inaccurate. So I will go to the actual source that people use for this. I'm going to actually pull up why I have this. Marcellos Wilder's, I misspelled it, but it's gonna actually pull it up underneath the name and see what it says here. And I'll get back to the original screen. Marcellos Wilder, suspended by Texas Combative Sports Program until the 6/14/2009. And here it says TKO 1 for Wilder changed to a no decision by Texas Commission on 4/4/2019. Now, as I stated before, BoxRec.com says data may be incomplete or inaccurate. So they're telling you, double check us, don't rely on us. Fair enough. So this is the combative sports penalties. That's their website, tdlrtexas.gov. That is the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. That is the governing body that oversees the Texas Combative Sports Program. The Combative Sports Program is a division of the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. So if you want to know if somebody's suspended, you can do a search on the Texas Department of Licensing Regulations database and see if the person is suspended or not. But before I did that, I picked up the phone and called the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, and they told me that according to the data that they had, Marcellos Wilder is not suspended by them. That was the first thing that I did. I called and I asked, and they said, according to their records, he's not suspended. However, that's not going to be enough. So they said, look, I asked them, well, is there some way that I can see the information? They pointed me to this. In doing so, I found something interesting. Do you see how it says Charles Martin here? Charles Martin? Charles Martin also fought on that card. Also fought on that card. And he is also suspended by Texas Combative Sports Program until April 10th. But yet, what does it say here? Ugh, hate that, man. That's my MMA notifications. It says expiration date 3/18/2020 and expiration date 3/18/2020. According to the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, the only thing, the current status of both these guys who are on box record said to be suspended are expired. Expiration date 3/18/2020 for both Charles Martin and Marcellos Wallace. So I'm wondering, why is it that nobody is rumoring that Charles Martin must have failed a drug test? Maybe it's because it just doesn't fit the narrative. Maybe. However, let's even go to the subject that we had where it says that Marcellus Wilder had his decision changed to a no contest. Now, it could have been changed to a no contest. Could have been, but that doesn't mean it has anything to do with the suspension on the part of Marcellus Wallace. But I figured, let me go and actually look and see what I can pull off of Texas, out of Texas's website about the results that night. This is off of the Texas Department of Licensing Regulations. This is the only thing on their website, the only public information that they have made available about that fight. And down here you see Marcellus Wilder of Tuscaloosa, Alabama against Mark Sanchez, Wilder by TKO, round 129. 129 of the first round. But you see here it also has, though, suspension until. They have a little column here that says suspension until, which tells you that everybody in this fight was suspended as a matter of protocol after their fight is over. So what do you think the chances of everybody that is listed on this particular piece of paper, this particular report, that they're all tested positive for performance enhancing drugs? Pretty slim, I would say. Pretty slim. However, let's take it one bit further. Let's assume the third piece of this, that he was suspended by, first of all, I checked this part, Texas Combative Sports Program. They say that it's expired. It doesn't say suspended. I called them and they said, according to their records, he wasn't suspended. Then we see here that everybody has a de facto suspension that takes place, not a de facto suspension, but as just a precautionary suspension that happens after every fight, obviously. But let's look at something else about the performance enhancing drugs. Let's assume that he actually was suspended. How do we know what he got suspended for? We don't know, right? However, you can look to see what the penalties are for violations of narcotics, which is the drugs that people are rumoring about, that the rumor is out on, or the performance enhancing drugs. Let's just see. What is the penalty and what would you get if you had tested positive for or you had done some type of drug in Texas? Well, here their rules are. Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations.gov enforcement sports sanctions for contestants. Contestants. I was a little bit out of here, but let me go up here because I like to see how I did it. See that says contestants? Texas. Contestants. I already did the research, I already read this, so I know that it's a class D violation. And here it is. If he had tested positive for performance enhancing drugs or narcotics, this is what he would be a class D violation, which is tested positive for or used or injected stimulants, narcotics, anabolic agents, peptide hormones, whatever that glucocorticosteroids, or anti-estrogen agents either before or during a bout. Right? That's what they're saying it could be. What's the penalty for a first violation? It is $3,000 to $5,000 and or revocation, which means if they would have done something, if they would have made him sit out, they would revoke his license, not suspend him for 2 months. But what is exactly? Let me go again. What date? What's the amount of time he's suspended for on the suspension that probably isn't a real suspension, according to the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation? It's 2 months. Because if they had changed it on 4/4, then why is it only for 2 months if this was about performance-enhancing drugs or a stimulant like cocaine or marijuana? Why would that be the case? Man, my phone is blowing up in the middle of my video, and I'm not stopping it because I already did this video before. So look, let me reiterate what I was saying. I have no reason to believe based on what I saw on BoxRec that Marcellos Wilder is suspended at all. Other than the definition for suspension, the type of suspension that comes for every boxer if they get knocked out or they participate in a fight, everybody gets suspended for some period of time. But even if he was suspended, I have no reason to believe that it was for narcotics based off of a 2-month suspension when the penalty is the revocation of the license on the first offense. Not on the second offense, not on the third offense, on the first offense, or a significant fine. Now, as far as the record being changed to a no contest by Texas, right? I don't see that on their website. That as a 4/4 they changed this, that they changed it. But where would you get the actual information from if he had been suspended? It would be here on Fight Facts. And maybe I'll spend the $10 for 5 minutes that it takes to pull that record. Maybe I won't. I think I won't, and I'll just wait to see if he has another fight soon or if something else comes out. But again, I have no reason whatsoever to take this from BoxRec as definitive proof or even making me believe at all that he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Now, if somebody has some information out there that I didn't see, and that the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation and their subdivision named Texas Combative Sports Program, unless you have something else to show me, I have no reason to believe whatsoever that this actually happened. If it did happen, again, okay, we'll find out later. But I wonder why people are so interested in it. Could it be because his name's Wilder? And they're looking for some reason to tear down Deontay Wilder through his brother? Because, I didn't hear anybody saying anything about the fact that Charles Martin on the same night, on the same card, was also, quote unquote, suspended by the Texas Combative Sports Program. It was all based off of, maybe it's based off the fact that they changed it to a no contest. I don't see where they changed it on that record that is public right now, but I'll go check and see if I don't even necessarily have a reason to believe that they changed it to a no contest. Because once again, Boxing Scene is not the official record keeper, Fight Facts is. But we'll see what it is when it's time to see what it is. And with that, I'm out. Peace.